Let's bring in our guest who is standing by. Joining us this hour, National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar. What a unique situation for those of us here at Court TV. We don't typically see this in the cases that we cover, where it comes back to a new trial, it's in front of a judge, and it's as compelling as this one is, with a witness who has recanted. There's new evidence, according to the defense. Your thoughts, particularly on this agent testifying in the way that he did there at the end?
It was riveting. It was very riveting. I almost lost myself watching that because I was so zoned in. It was riveting. The defense attorney, I didn't see his face in there. Amazing job. I hope I bump into this defense attorney. The way he structured the question, and that was a courtroom dramatic moment. He's going to get a new trial. He's going to get a new trial, if for no other reason, because of that exchange right there. Obviously, the recantation and all the other stuff is going to get him a new trial, but that was riveting. I was mesmerized by it. I'm kind of like a junkie for watching these trials for these reasons. That was a very dramatic moment. The question, the answer, I don't even think that lawyer knew the answer to the question, but he almost didn't care because he knew that he was standing on the hill of right. At the end of the day, Julia, look, there's our system of justice and there's our sense of justice. The two are not the same. Sense of justice comes in here, right? The system of justice could gear up and say, you know what, we're not going to give him a new trial. Some of this evidence could have been uncovered with reasonable diligence, except for the recantation. And the recantation, we don't know if it's correct. Like the system of justice could find a way to say there's no new trial, but our sense of justice won't. There's no way this young man's not going to get a new trial.
Yeah, I like that. That's two different things. And usually, hopefully, more often than not, the sense of justice does creep into the system appropriately. Yeah. In this case, the gatekeeper is the judge. There's no jury. But I think if this were a jury scenario, that he would be slam dunk new trial. Because when you have a seasoned member of the TBI, as they call it in Tennessee, this guy he's got cop written all over him. You know, career, now retired, looks like, you know, law enforcement dude. And his answer was, yeah, I'm a little concerned, basically.
That he's not sure.
Yeah, he's not sure. And when he's not sure, guess what? Nobody's sure, so we'll see. All right, let's get a break. Michael Jaafar's watching along with us. The case continues. It's a lot of every day another eyebrow-raising scenario. What does the Kid Cudi scenario of his Porsche gets torched allegedly by Combs. Combs eventually apologizes, but does that take it to another level from a federal standpoint? It's not just the weird sex stuff and the abuse of Cassie and some other people around him, but now he's actually going out and went into Kid Cudi's house apparently, and then while he was gone, and then had his car torched. What does that do for the feds?
It bookends the case. It bookends the testimony by Cassie Ventura, because she also alluded to the fact that he threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and then Kid Cudi saying the same thing. And at the end of the day, it completely vilifies Sean Combs, and I think the jury's going to find that he was a villain. Right? Even if he got past it, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you, for example, commit a murder today and then you change your ways in 10 years, you still committed the murder, and if it's found out, you're going to go to jail for life, right? So I think at the end of the day, the jury are going to find that he was a villain, a super villain, based on what Kid Cudi says. It bookends the testimony that was began by Cassie Ventura. It lends credibility to all the stuff that she said. It lends credibility to any witness who comes in there and says that he coerced people, he threatened people. I don't think any juror will not find, because we impanel juries to make reasonable inferences based on testimony and witnesses and evidence, right? What reasonable inference are the jury going to make based on everything we've seen so far? They're going to make the reasonable inference that Sean Combs did all of this stuff. And then I think they'll get very close to convicting him if they make these inferences. He's got an uphill battle, Ted. I know that they offered him a plea, and when I saw the testimony today, when I heard about the testimony by Kid Cudi today, I kept thinking to myself, man, you know, he could have taken a plea. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they've got a slam dunk case. Maybe they have a rebuttal case. But at the end of the day, the Kid Cudi testimony really, just because he never got a settlement from Sean Combs. Cassie Ventura did. He never sued Sean Combs. Cassie Ventura did. So Kid Cudi has nothing, you know, has nothing. He has everything to lose and nothing to gain by this testimony. At the end of the day, sometimes some witnesses will embellish, and they'll make inferences themselves, and we don't know the dynamic. We just saw on the prior block on another case where somebody testified, convicted somebody, went to jail. So at the end of the day, all of these dynamics come into play for the jury, but the talent of Sean Combs' attorneys is going to really come into play here. They have a real, they got a knife fight on their hands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think he's a very powerful witness for the prosecution inside of that courtroom, stand out compared to really everyone who's testified so far. Michael Jaafar, thank you for your analysis. A big smile on the defendant's face there as he's listening to this witness, the father of someone who was a potential suspect who is now deceased. Let's bring in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar to talk about that element of it. We see that sometimes in cases that we cover where there's someone who may have been a person of interest, and then if they are no longer around, it's hard for them to defend themselves. That can be frustrating for a victim's family because it could raise reasonable doubt, but it also is potentially damaging for a defendant who is trying to prove their innocence.
Absolutely. No, this is almost like we're watching a movie. This case is like watching a movie, and this is like, 30 minutes before the movie ends and the person has been, serving prison time, and all of the stuff just comes out of the woodwork. It's almost like hard to believe. But yeah, I do agree with you. At the end of the day, there's a victim. There's a beautiful, beautiful girl who I think we can reasonably infer was murdered in cold blood. That happened. No question that happened. I don't think anybody would disagree that happened. She did not shoot herself in the back of her own head. Somebody murdered her in cold blood. It was a sick, disgusting act, and she's a victim and her family's a victim, right? So at the end of the day, the storm that's going through their mind watching these proceedings, I cannot imagine. Just imagine you woke up the day before you found out that a person had recanted their statement, thinking that the person who murdered your beautiful loved one is in jail serving the rest of their life plus 50 years after their life is done, right? That was a sentence. It was a very, very specific sentence by that judge to drive the point home. The whole community suffered from the murder of this innocent girl. And imagine you find out that, you know what? We actually, the person who murdered her is walking free. Yeah. And they put somebody else in jail.
Yeah, for them too, it has to be just excruciating, to Michael's point. They're going through it. Let's get a break. When we come back, we'll have more Zach Adams next hour. More Michael Jaafar. What do you think? Is this legit that they should get some sort of delay? I don't know how that helps them because this information was released.
No, I don't think they should get a delay. This trial is I think this whole entire case, it's like a mini corporation. It's like taking on a life of its own. And I was in full support when the defense team wanted to move the case. I was in full support. They did that. That in and of itself was a delay. That was a delay by probably over 12 months, if you really think about how long that took. Another delay because of okay, you're the judge, right? Let's just think of it like this. You give them what they want, you delay it. What's to stop another Dateline thing from coming out, or an NBC thing, or a Netflix documentary? I mean, at what point do you draw the line? I think you draw the line here. You say, no, I don't think you give them a delay. It's not like the trial is next week. It's in August, right? It's a long time from now. These are seasoned, crack veteran attorneys that are representing Brian Kohberger. It's a death penalty case. Not very few of us have ever handled a death penalty case, and so they know what they're doing. And at the end of the day, you can't control the media. You can't control the whole entire sphere of social media and everything. This information's out there. There's no delay. If nothing that could come out of this Dateline documentary would impinge them in some way that they're not already impinged by the facts that they have to deal with. I do not think that they're going to get a delay. I think they have to do what they're doing now. I think they have to ask for it, but I don't think they're going to get a delay.
Yeah, they also are saying that James Patterson book is coming out in July, so that would be just a few weeks before the trial starts. So they are saying that would taint the potential jury pool in the case. We will see how the judge handles it. It is something that has been filed but has not been responded to. Michael Jaafar, thank you for joining us and lending us your expertise and time this hour. We have a lot more to get to here on Court TV.